This is Center Avenue. It is the road that parallels the Colorado State University campus housing, student family housing. Center Avenue is an important road because of the entrance into the student housing building. I'm going to slowly scan or move the camera over so that everyone can see the parking lot that's located here at Center. On Center, it's a huge entrance. Here's the driveway that I'm looking at. Anyone can walk in here. Anyone can drive their car into this campus housing parking lot. Anyone can walk in here over to any of the units. This is a very, very important point having to do with the homicide of 19-year-old Jeremy Holmes by Officer Phil Morris, CSU campus police officer, Colorado State University campus police officer. Very important point. I'm going to scroll slowly back. I'm walking down Center towards Prospect Avenue. I'm going to scroll back over the way slowly so you can see what the parking lot from another angle. There you see someone biking across the entrance. Okay, there's Center. There's the Hilton parking lot. I'm going to scroll back around and you can get a really good view of how open that entrance is. Anyone can walk into student housing or park here. All right, off of Center Avenue. Jeremy walked by this entrance and he never went into student housing on July 1st, 2017. He walked by that opening. He'd been in there many times to go and visit his brother, and he walked by it on July 1st, 2017. Okay, now I'm walking north on Center Avenue. As I'm walking, you can see me approaching Prospect Avenue. Prospect Avenue is the street that Jeremy was shot 6 times on. So I'm going to be walking north. I'm taking you in Jeremy's steps that he took on July 1st, 2017. So you can view the truth about what really happened to Jeremy Holmes. There has been a nonstop campaign by the law enforcement leadership in Fort Collins to suppress the truth about what really happened to Jeremy Holmes. They lied about him from the very beginning. They established a narrative that was completely false from the very beginning. And then they altered the body camera footage and audio, dispatch audio, when they released it 4.5 months later after killing Jeremy. Okay, we are now approaching the intersection of Prospect Road and Center, and you can see this is an important corner here for everyone to see. Okay? You can see the light here at this corner. Now I'm going to turn left here at this corner. I'm going to turn left, move my camera in the flow of my directions and turning left. And I'm starting to walk down the steps that Jeremy took on the day that he was killed. Okay, here I am on Prospect Avenue, and here is the other end of the Colorado State University housing. You saw the back end with the driveway into the parking lot, wide open. This is the back end. It's gated here. Actually, it's gated everywhere around the whole housing section. It's all gated. This is a lower end gate, but I want you to look over here. This is right off of Prospect and Center Avenue at the corner. Camera around. I'm going to go back here just a few yards. I'm going to go back up to Prospect Avenue, and I'm going to start walking down Prospect Avenue. These are the steps Jeremy took. Okay? I'm going to turn my camera back to where that gated area is. The only gate on Prospect Avenue, I'm going to point out to you, Jeremy never went in that gate. Jeremy walked by it. So he walked by the big entrance on Center, the driveway. He walked by this gate. And he continued to walk down. Here's housing units that are housing units line this whole street on Prospect Avenue. He walked down Prospect Avenue. He had a sheathed knife in his side pocket when he left his home, which was over 2.5 miles away. So he walked on a very, very hot day with a sheathed knife in the side pocket. He walked down here, down Prospect, and I want you to see this here. The housing units are divided by 6 to 8 foot fencing. Okay? All along this street, there's no other entrances into the housing. Now, here's the sign. States Aggie Village Apartments, buildings 18 through 34, 501 West Prospect Road. This is the road that Jeremy was walking down. He walked past this sign. I'm walking in his footsteps. Walking in Jeremy's footsteps. Once again, more fence connected to housing along this road. So he's walking. Okay, now I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see how far we are away from that corner of Prospect and Center. I'm going to turn it around. Here's Prospect. More university properties across the street. I'm going to turn it all the way around. You can see that we're very, very far, like at least 30, 40 yards or more away from the corner of Prospect and Center and away from the only entrance into this housing development. Okay, I'm going to turn back around. I'm going to continue walking here. These are the steps that Jeremy took. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera a little so you can see the side here again. You can see gates, six or 7 foot gate from this housing unit all the way along this sidewalk, parallel to the sidewalk with a strip of land in between it. Okay, now we are many, 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 many yards away from the only entrance. It's about at this point that Officer Phil Morris, Colorado State Officer Phil Morris, drives up in his vehicle with his lights on, pulls parallel to Jeremy and jumps out of his car with his gun pointed at Jeremy. Right about here. At least this is according to the body camera footage that the police released in late November 2017. If you go to YouTube, you will see that this is about the area right here where supposedly Officer Phil Morris drove up next to Jeremy and jumped out of his vehicle. We really don't know what happened to Jeremy from this point on. In a few yards, I'm going to show you where Jeremy died. But we really don't know what happened between that time because the body camera footage has been deleted, altered, images inserted to it, and Colorado State University has refused to provide unredacted copies of the body camera footage to Susan Holmes, Jeremy Holmes' mother. She went to court and fought an open records case to get the unredacted footage, but the judge found against her. If she was able to get that body camera footage, the unredacted raw data, she would be able to have an independent forensic analysis of the footage to determine how much of the footage had been altered and what specifically was altered. Okay, I'm going to continue walking. So at this point, the officer has supposedly, according to the district attorney, intercepted Jeremy. But he didn't. The DA, in his opinion, dated July 2017, states that Officer Phil Morris intercepted Jeremy Holmes going to the housing units. Intercepted him as if he was a hero, as if he was preventing something from happening. Well, that was a blatant lie and cover-up by the district attorney at Fort Collins. You are walking Jeremy's steps. Jeremy's walking west on Prospect. He was leaving this whole area. He walked by the only two entrances to get into the housing unit, and he was almost to Whitcomb, which is another light up a ways here. You can see in the film. There's another light at the corner, the corner of Whitcomb and Prospect. Jeremy was walking down this sidewalk going that direction. He was leaving this area. Officer Phil Morris never intercepted Jeremy. Officer Phil Morris is not a hero. Officer Phil Morris committed homicide. He created a situation where he had to kill Jeremy. Now, we're coming up here and you can see some discolored sidewalk here, like new cement. That's been done by Colorado State University in the city of Fort Collins. That is where Jeremy died. His blood was stained on this sidewalk here, right where you see the light-colored squares. That's where Jeremy's blood, he bled out after he was shot 6 times. I walked here every day for months. That blood stain was there for many, many months. They made sure that they covered it with new cement so people couldn't see the blood stains and they couldn't see the messages I was leaving to the community. Over here, I had a memorial that I put there with a large statue of Buddha, but they've taken the Buddha away. They've destroyed my memorial. They won't allow Jeremy to have a memorial here. They won't allow anyone to know about what really happened to Jeremy. Leaving the area, there is no way to get in to the housing unit right here. I'm showing the housing units that are parallel to where Jeremy was killed. Up to the fence, the fencing, 6-7 foot fencing. No way to get in. All Prospect. Jeremy was on his way away from here. He hadn't committed any crime in his whole life. He was an incredible, brilliant person. Now, over here in this unit, I interviewed a number of people in these housing units, and in this housing units there were actually families in here when the police started to shoot Jeremy. I talked to one of the mothers and her family for quite a while when I was doing my own investigation. Right here. Jeremy was in front of this window the person who was living here saw Jeremy stand here for a while and was trying to process information. She used her hand to describe he was thinking about something, you know, and standing there. And she said, using her hands to think, you know, just describe that he seemed to be processing information, but she wasn't sure what. She could see him right through that window. In the body camera footage, there is absolutely no frames that show Jeremy standing and thinking about anything. No frames. That frame was completely deleted. It was shortly right after that the bullets started. Okay? Because her husband grabbed her and threw her on the ground. Threw her on the ground. Her children were in there. They had to duck for cover. That footage of Jeremy standing and trying to process information, once again, does not exist in the body camera footage. There's another thing that happened here too. There was a huge scream, yell, heard by 3 people in a unit in these buildings over here. I'm going to show you where exactly the people, 3 individuals heard the scream just before the bullets started. I'm walking this way to show you. We go up here, right up here, down from the units of the person that observed Jeremy thinking. In these units here, beyond this fence, 3 individuals heard Jeremy scream, yell. It had to have been very, very loud for them to hear. There is no scream of Jeremy in the body camera footage just before the bullets start flying. That's when they heard the scream. There is no footage of Jeremy screaming or yelling, yet witnesses heard him. So there are 2 major pieces of evidence from witnesses that state certain activities that were happening that don't appear in the body camera footage. Why? Why is that not in the body camera footage where Jeremy was standing and thinking, processing information? Where's this scream that Jeremy made in the body camera footage? It's all been edited out, along with a number of other pieces of the body camera footage. Totally taken out, presented as a completely fake piece of video to the community, and then uploaded to YouTube. I'm going to turn around. I've scanned this apartment here, and I'm going to walk back again. I want you to see way back there. Just look right in front of you. That's east on Prospect. Jeremy wasn't going that way. He was going the opposite direction, like from where I'm standing now. And if you look at the light down there, that is where the only entrance was. Once again, the DA, the District Attorney of Fort Collins, lied in order to cover up the actions of Officer Phil Morris. That's not the only time the DA is covered up for Phil Morris. A few years earlier, Phil Morris, CSU campus officer, had brutally attacked somebody on their bike. There were 3 witnesses to it who saw him do that. Even with the testimony of the 3 witnesses, the DA, the same district attorney who cleared him of the homicide of Jeremy Holmes, cleared Officer Phil Morris of that brutal attack. The district attorney has a very, very consistent pattern of clearing any police officer of any wrongdoing. He does it all the time. He also suppresses evidence. He did it in the Timothy Masters case. He was the assistant DA to Abrahamson at the time that Timothy Masters case was happening in Fort Collins. And they actively suppressed any access to the testing of the DNA that ultimately freed Timothy Masters from a false imprisonment. Fort Collins had to pay millions of dollars. This district attorney, Cliff Ridel, was involved in that. As you can see, we've many yards. Jeremy was so many yards away from the only entrance. He was so far away. There is no way they could make a mistake like that. Even in the body camera footage that they released, it shows how far away he was. But they want you to look at that body camera footage and they want to tell you a different story and you're supposed to believe them. And I'm showing you now, in this video of the steps that Jeremy took, I'm showing you, I've showed you that they lied. Jeremy never went into the village. Jeremy never went into this village. Never. Never went into this village. He wasn't a threat to anyone. But the officer created a conflict and treated Jeremy like as a criminal. He wouldn't listen to Jeremy when Jeremy tried to dialogue with him. The officer brutally attacked somebody 4 years earlier and was cleared. And here's the facts. Jeremy never went into this gate over here. Never went into that gate. And he never went in to the entrance of the driveway that's on Center Street up here. I'm walking back. I want the world to know. I want people to know the truth about what really happened to Jeremy. The district attorney of Fort Collins has lied, blatantly lied to cover up the murder of Jeremy Holmes. He cleared Officer Phil Morris of any homicide, even though Officer Morris was responsible for the homicide. Now here's another key point I want people to understand. I want you guys to understand that in the body camera footage that they've released to the public, you can't see a knife with Jeremy. In the first part of the video, it doesn't look like Jeremy's carrying any knife. You can't see it. Then all of a sudden, after a few seconds, at the back end of the officer's car, Jeremy has a knife up. Well, what happened to the sheath? No one ever talks about what happened to the sheath that knife was in. No one ever talks about the fact that that was in his side pocket. But I want the public to understand that police alter body camera footage. It comes with their body cameras. You get a guidebook that tells you exactly how to create images and insert them into body camera footage, how to delete images, how to delete pieces of the body camera footage. It's common knowledge now. I've got the guidebook for the Axon body camera footage. You can do all those things. Police are altering body camera footage everywhere. They altered it in the murder of Jeremy Holmes. And I just proved to you, walking Jeremy's steps, that the district attorney of Fort Collins lied in his opinion, that is called the DA's opinion that he published in July 2017. He blatantly lied. I filed a complaint with the bar in Colorado about that lie. There's a huge cover-up in the homicide of Jeremy Holmes. There is a criminal ring in Fort Collins of law enforcement. And I want the public to understand that. And here we are, at the entrance, the huge wide open entrance that Jeremy used to go at all the time when we visit. Here's the entrance into the housing, and Jeremy never went in. Never went this way. It's wide open. Never went in the gate. The DA lied. The police lie. CSU, Colorado State University Police Department has refused, along with Colorado State administration, refused to provide unredacted body camera footage because they know Susan Holmes would be able to prove that they altered the body camera footage and that they altered the dispatch. I want everyone to think about this. Body camera footage is not secure. Colorado State does not want you to know this. Susan Holmes fought in a court case locally for months, an open records case. It's online. She fought to get the body camera footage. She fought to get the unredacted raw data from body camera footage, time-stamped. She fought to get the unredacted dispatch audios. They refused to give them to her. And the judiciary is part of the corruption here. The judiciary could have found in Susan Holmes' favor and ordered them to release the unredacted body camera footage and unredacted time-stamped audio. But they're part of the cover-up here, the judiciary. People need to understand that body camera footage is weaponized. They're altering it to use it against the public. It's not for transparency purposes at all. Jeremy Holmes is an incredible person, incredible being.